Hello, I am TRUDO and I will now tell you how to become a beekeeper, and this channel is about the fact that we only speak the pure truth here. We tell the truth about honey, we tell the truth about bees, we tell the truth about how it really is, and we don't care about what anyone else thinks. We speak the truth here and I show you how I do it. So hi, I'm TRUDO, a 20-year-old beekeeper. I may look young, but I really have 20 years of beekeeping experience behind me, and now we'll talk about the truth about it, and we'll also discuss the exact steps on how to become a beekeeper. So let's get to it and go through exactly what everyone can expect, what the basic conditions are to become a beekeeper, and what the necessary further steps are in order. You can see here, yeah, that I have 72 bee colonies, 72 families that I have been taking care of for a long time now. And now we'll go through exactly step by step how to think about becoming a beekeeper. Do I need to have schooling? No, I don't. Do I need to attend some courses to become a beekeeper? No, you don't. All you need is to decide that you want to be a beekeeper. We worry about how to actually be a successful beekeeper, but you don't need any schooling, you don't need anything at all. All you need is to decide how to remain a beekeeper. But what exactly do we need for that? And what are the precise procedures, TRUDO? Tell us. So to become a beekeeper, you need to actually have that determination within you. It's best to learn from some local beekeeper, perhaps an older one, to whom you can express your desire to become a beekeeper. You can exchange his valuable experience by helping him out. Now I'm telling you the exact process of how I started and became a beekeeper, and it works. In such a way that I approached a beekeeper in the village who had about 20 hives, and I told him that I wanted to become a beekeeper and asked if he would be willing. And what he said, he was 70 years old. He said, yeah, sure, why not, TRUDO? And that's how it worked. That's exactly how I started, and what you actually need if you want to be. As a professional beekeeper, I'll tell you truly and honestly, forget about it and forget about perhaps putting it in some of your garden. You actually put bees there. Yeah, you put bees there and say, I have trees here, I'll put bees here and I'll have honey, and it's just completely carefree, right? What will I do? I'll put bees there, I have a lot of trees here, and I'll have honey. So completely forget about this approach. The first thing we want is to avoid dealing with any neighborly relations. We don't want to deal with relationships with one neighbor or another. We don't want this at all. But what does the law say? If I want to become a beekeeper, I report it to the municipal office at the city office that I want to have bees on my property. If the property is not yours, get a lease agreement and state that you will be keeping bees there. Handle it so that you are away from people, away from neighbors, so that you are not close to anyone. Close. Consider that if I have bees here and this neighbor decides to dig or do something here, the bees will attack him fiercely. Yes, and we don't want that. We want to maintain good neighborly relations, so I report to the municipal office or city hall that I want to have bees. Of course, they approve it because they don't have any objections to it. Then I address everything I need regarding the beekeeping area, like the angles and what the law says. If you also have a neighbor who has bees and those bees are stinging you, or you can't go into the garden, you can't go swimming in the pool, then always check how your neighbor, the beekeeper, has oriented the bees. Always when we look, for example, at these hives where I have them oriented towards my property. So the basic rule about how to orient bees is that you must have the bees oriented towards your own property. You cannot turn the bees towards the neighbor. So that's the first problem right away. So I have the bees oriented towards my property. I don't have them oriented anywhere else. I have my property and I have my basic right to use that property simply as I wish. No one can take it from me, but the law states that the bees must be oriented towards your property. Similarly, there is also a law about how far they should be from the neighbor's fence. I think it's 3 to 5 meters. So this is also a very important rule. So I have the bees oriented towards my property and they are sufficiently far from both neighbors and completely. The most ideal is that I actually take advantage of the fact that I'm outside the village. You can take a shot showing that I'm trying to stay outside the built-up area and I'm thus further away from people. And with all this, I actually limit or eliminate any possibilities of those complaints. Nowadays, it's a difficult time Everyone actually, what you're saying here, I can do whatever I want on my own land. Sure you can, buddy, but do it in a way that you stay on good terms with one neighbor and another neighbor. I know that down here I have 5 neighbors, so what do? I give each one a free Christmas tree, so we're not playing the game of I have my land where I can do what I want. We're just playing the game of wanting to get along with everyone. We want to have good neighborly relations. We want to tell those people what I have here, the hives, what happens within a 100-meter radius. Production increases by 100%, whether it's apples, cherries, or any other fruit. The bees indeed simply pollinate all the trees in this nearby area, and people notice it. They might not know it now, but thanks to the fact that you place bees here, you show them these. That's why we try and do it like I do. I try to get along with everyone, listen to everyone, understand their problems, whatever they are. When someone tells me they go to my greenhouse, they go to my pool, so we solve it together. We have this approach because we are beekeepers, and it's not easy. And people don't know, they don't understand that all you do is helping them to have something to eat, to actually keep nature going so that biodiversity simply continues to increase. We are constantly raising the level, so the entire level, and the whole idea of all this is that we are essentially beekeepers. We agreed on wanting to be beekeepers. We chose a place and we planned it in advance so that we wouldn't cause problems for anyone. We didn't cause problems for one neighbor or the other. We tried to separate as much as possible, to detach from the village so that we don't have it in the center of the village, and we try to create the apiary in this way and already think ahead and maintain good relationships so that you will be on someone's bad side. It won't help you at all. In the end, you'll be dealing with some court orders and complaints, so we want to completely avoid this. Therefore, as beekeepers, the first point is to find a suitable apiary. We look for an apiary. That is absolutely the most ideal situation to avoid any problems outside the planned area of the town or village. We try to separate as much as possible so that the people don't feel like they can't go into their garden, and we understand what you would say. I have small children at home. I can't let them into the garden because there are bees flying around. They might get stung. Then they can't go into the pool. The dogs can't drink from the water bowl because bees go there. So we want to avoid all of this. To avoid, of course, and I'm showing you and talking about how I think about it. Me and you try to be inspired by that. Try to take what with what. Try to definitely take that from it. And now I'm absolutely going to tell you how I do it. So the apiary as far as possible from the built up area of the village, as far as possible from those people so that we don't bother them, so they can also have their opportunity to use their land as they can. So this is what my apiary looks like. It is outside the village. It could theoretically be further from the built up area as you see it. The problem is that there are quite a lot of bee colonies here. We're talking about in one hive there can be how many? 60 to 70,000 bees, and when you multiply that, there are 70 hives here, 80, 100 hives. So we're talking about, when it's 100 hives, we're talking about 7 million bees. Yes, so these bee colonies, these bees, you can hear them here, you can see them here. So we constantly try, as I say, to maintain good neighborly relations in our community, relationships. That's the absolute foundation of the apiary. When someone tells you a complaint, listen to it, be understanding, be the kind of person who tries to help those people, you know, and be supportive at all times. Reward them for that, and at the end of the day, they will appreciate it. So the key is to find an apiary that won't be too close to people. It will be safely located, distanced from people, safely secured, and operate in this way. So the first step was how to become a beekeeper. You can become a beekeeper simply by not needing a school for it, without even having to just simply report it to the local or city office that you want to have bees on a given property, and that's the basic rule. Then you can simply buy bees and proceed as I have explained to you. It's definitely enough if you have a beekeeper who is well experienced to teach you. It's a very basic rule. You can watch videos, and you can also watch mine videos, because now we are actually going through the first part of how to become a beekeeper gradually. I will go through what the individual steps are during the year and so on. So we have an apiary. We found an apiary someplace. It's best if it's on your property or if you have rented the land. And at the same time, if you have rented the land, you have a contract for it made, and you have the land. So we have the land. We always look for it, and we know that It's not good if the sun constantly shines on the bees. In my case, it is a bit of an excuse because here the sun actually shines. The problem is that it's not good if the sun constantly shines on the apiary. Even though the bee is a sun-loving creature, it prefers when the sun doesn't shine directly on it. So it's beneficial if during the day there is also some shade at the apiary in the environment. So we are looking for an apiary. Don't be afraid of the trees. Don't worry if it's also in the shade, even though there are various opinions on this, which I could tell you about. These are such that the hives simply start flying earlier when the sun shines. I noticed that the sunny apiary has more activity there. There is a greater yield of honey, even though they then have to exert more energy to actually refrigerate the hive, but it all relates together with additional context. So we are not afraid that the apiary is in the sun. We can always plant some trees. As in my case, you could see that the development of the apiary is ongoing, and this year lilacs and hawthorns such as these were planted here, as you can clearly see in this particular way. So these specific shrubs will definitely create more shade and at the same time will make the bees fly upwards. So you can also make the bees fly in a certain direction. We will discuss all of this when you follow me and subscribe to these videos. So don't forget to subscribe. Feel free to like and share this video. So we have discussed looking for an apiary that is away from people so it doesn't bother them, so that those people can enjoy their gardens, swim in their pools, and not be afraid while maintaining good neighborly relations. We give everyone free honey every year. Don't forget that. It's very important. And no one will ever say anything to you, because the bees will visit their barrels, greenhouses, or wherever they go, water, even though we have drinkers arranged at the apiary. So this is the first basic point. So the first basic point is that I registered at the city or municipal office. I don't need to have schooling. I don't need anything. The second point, I chose the apiary. I chose it wisely because I'm smart, and I eliminated some shortcomings in advance by choosing the apiary outside the built-up area of the village, away from those plots where it might bother people that I have bees. That's the second point, and these are the basic points. But what next? What next? How to proceed further? Works. What do I have to do now? You can also be a member of associations. For example, I am a member of the Slovak Beekeepers Association, and there are some benefits from that. My biggest advantages from it are that they definitely actually send an inspector who checks thoroughly for the presence of bee diseases and other potential threats to bee health and safety. So every year they inspect it, and I can also use some subsidies for the purchase of medicines and subsidies for pollination efficiency. The subsidy for pollination efficiency per hive is €4. So you know how our state supports beekeepers. So it gives you €4 per hive, and from that you pay some membership fees, but it all actually relates together and they can represent you. So be a member of some association. I am a member of the Slovak Beekeepers Association. So well, I have an apiary, and we continue. I have already chosen an apiary. I have already registered with the local office. I have already found an apiary, and I have already found an apiary where I have some shade, and I have already found a plot of land somewhere that is mine, or I have rented it. And now what do I need for it all? So I need an angle for that. We'll make another one for the individual angles, because they can be insulated and non-insulated hives. We will return to that, but I have chosen the hive I want to own. I have actually found a beekeeper who is teaching me. I take inspiration from him, I draw energy, and I also watch TRUDO to see how he does it. And if I agree with something, I identify with it, then I take it from him. I use it to create my apiary setup. You can see that I have the hives strategically placed on individual stands, on such stands. And I also brought some additional basic foundation. You can buy stands on online platforms that are actually already available, such as somewhat modified for individual frame sizes, or you can choose angles, all those stands and design, and make them yourself. There are various options. You can drive stakes into the ground. I simply use heavy iron stands weighing 100 kilo that can hold the angles strategically. I also have live mowers here, and we'll get back to that. So I have nice stands. I chose the hives. There will be a separate video about the tasks. on what basis to decide that I simply want this or another hive. And in this way, I always arrange the stands. There was always some theory about how far the angles should be from each other. Just don't forget to adhere to the basic conditions. I don't have the hive turned towards the neighbor. I have it directed into my own property. It's sufficiently distanced from the neighbor's fence, and in this way, I avoid any problems and potential complaints. What else is important on that apiary is that the apiary must be legally marked with one more designation. You can come along. I'll show you what else I have here. I have a large apiary where I keep bees. I try to ensure there's shade so that, and they are not constantly in the sun. I would recommend that the apiary be completely fenced because, for example, at one point for several years, about 2 years, I didn't have this apiary fenced. But what happens is people are curious. They are not afraid. They come here. There are bees. They go to look. Then they get stung. And then they tell you, your bees stung us. But why just, you have land that is yours. But these people are curious. They just come to look. So I would definitely recommend to everyone that their apiary be fenced. You see, I have my apiary nicely fenced with a proper fence, and to ensure everything is as it should be. And what the law says is that actually anyone who goes onto your apiary or around your apiary must be warned clearly and unmistakably with such a sign: biological hazard bees. I have already several times marked who the owner is, the address, registration number, and phone number, and that there is a no entry sign on private property. And it even says here that it is monitored by a camera system whether because of some haters or because of bears or something else, you must have indeed marked that your apiary is that it is actually a biological hazard bees. So never forget that. Be proactive, be smart, have everything as it should be, so that in the end, you're not unnecessarily stung. Yeah, so the apiary looks like this, fenced. I have there angles. One more very important thing is that you have those angles there, and then in the end, you also have to process the honey in some way, and then you have to store it somewhere safe, individual supers and various other aspects. So I will show you that on my apiary. There is indeed such a very little house. Today there is a law about how big a square meter house is very lenient now. I have here approximately 20 mate. The house is this kind of wooden house that you can buy. You can make it smaller. You don't have to have it here. You can simply have it at home with you. In that little house I spin honey and store and keep frames and other items such as safely and efficiently necessary things for bees. In this little house I simply have a honey extractor. I have an uncapping table. We will show all of this in the next video. So I would just say this: everything you need as a basic. So let's summarize it. We report to the municipal or local office. We find an apiary, which is the place where it will be, in which location. We are smart. We try to stay as far away from people as possible. We will always remain positive and constructive, and we will address every comment from those people. We will be to those people, the closest neighbors, simply on that street. So it's about 5 to 10. We give everyone honey for free. It doesn't limit us in any way, and we create good neighborly relations. These are the basic rules to ensure that I don't have to deal with any complaints, so that those people understand me. And the apiary that I have here, I will enclose it, I will fence it, I will create it in a way, I will simply plant trees there. It must not be extremely in the sun. In this way, I start to become a beekeeper. I register into a beekeeping organization. I still take into account that it's good to be organized somewhere, because we simply just want someone to handle certain specific tasks. Things for us to arrange subsidies for bees, which are €4 per unit for the whole year, which is a bit sad. So the authorities could reflect on this, because we are actually dealing with ensuring that people have something to eat and that everything here lived all that as it should. Never. Don't forget to tell those people who are notice it. They will tell you. So don't forget that. In this way we choose, they will notice, they will tell you. So don't forget, this is how we choose. We are dealing with the apiary, and I would take this as a fundamental step for me and for TRUDO, that I am starting to be a beekeeper. I have an apiary. I maintain good relationships. I have apiary. I have a secured apiary. Which one to which? Reflect on it and take your time to think deeply about it. Think about it. So watch, and we'll see each other in the next video, where we will actually discuss the next step, that we already have an apiary, we are registered, we already know that we want to have bees, we have good neighborly relations, we gave everyone honey for free to ensure all the neighbors. And in the next video we will look at how and in what way we will decide together on how we will choose the angles and how to place them apart, what color is important, what all is important, and in this way we will approach it in a systematic manner.